They're like, it's also rising.
Why Peeps anyways? Peeps are
Why
not.
Peeps?
How did that even become
I have
a thing?
no idea.
Maybe because they could shape it like a bird and people were like got into it and then it just kind of
Maybe,
stuck,
yeah, and it just stuck.
Taste good.
It doesn't taste that great. And they're like, also the best part about Peeps, I think, is that it's marshmallow, which is like literally like inflated sugar. And then they're like, I feel like it's not sweet enough. Should we just dip it in sugar?
Yeah, let's
just dip the whole thing in sugar.
But then you add the color and then it would really
And yeah,
takes
that's
off.
a really, yeah.
But then they also have those other marshmallow things where it's like
chocolate
marshmallow things.
All right, welcome to Checker Podski. We're doing it. We're doing
This
it.
is happening.
It's 1 o'clock, and we're doing it.
It's 1 o'clock. Wow.
It's happening.
Did you bring topics today?
I brought a few of like that we like wrote down.
Okay.
But I didn't. I wasn't sure if you wanted to start with something.
Let's see.
Do you have anything in particular?
I have several notes apps that are labeled eggs. So.
Oh hell yeah!
That tells you a lot.
Tells you a lot about society and where we are.
The egg problem.
The egg problem that we're having. Honestly, at Aldi they're like $6, which almost now, if eggs are too cheap, then I get suspicious.
If eggs are too cheap?
Yeah, I'm like, why are these eggs full of the flu?
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I'm actually, I know you don't eat meat, but I do eat chicken. That's pretty much it. And then I'm like, is that infected as well?
I don't know.
And what is the infection? I don't even know what's happening with the flu.
I think it's mostly for animals right now, but don't quote me on that. We don't know anything. Again, this is not a fact-based podcast. Please don't take your facts from this.
There is no facts here.
We have facts the same way Joe Rogan has facts. We don't have them. No, I don't think. I don't know. Somebody said too that it has to do a lot with if it's pasteurized versus unpasteurized. So a big
eggs.
Yeah,
I don't even know what pasteurized means.
I think it's like some kind of. It's something that you go through to like heat them up or something, or kill the bacteria on them.
Bacteria, okay.
Yeah, so I think as long as you cook the stuff, as long as it's pretty cooked, I think you're pretty safe.
Okay.
But I think the price of the eggs went up because, you know, obviously they had to kill a bunch of chickens because they had it.
Yep.
But I don't know about eating the meat. I couldn't tell you about that.
Okay.
So please look this up yourselves, guys. We don't want our fans dying.
All right, so I have one thing written down for this week, which is the idea, like, you know how like the idea of like the alpha male is like pushed on guys.
On men, yeah.
But like, is it actually making them beta? Like, would that be is it actually like, because I think you said the thing about the idea that there was something you showed where the guy was like, guys, if you're peeing in public, that's weak.
That's
and I'm
weak,
like, wait, so like, it feels like it's forcing people to be weak, to be like, don't pee at public bathrooms or something. Like, I don't know, it just seemed very strange. At the very least, it seems like backwards to me.
Yeah, it seems like, it definitely seems like it's almost making them more sensitive to things.
Yes.
I watched...
things that would be like, oh, if you like attract women at all, that makes you weak. And it's like,
yeah,
but then they're not they're not dating anybody.
Thing,
so
right?
Like, I don't understand.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I watched a show called Below Deck or whatever, and on the show they have like guests, whatever, and the guest that they had was an alpha bro podcast guy, and everything he says, everyone around him is like, he's a nice dude, but like, God, I can't stand talking to him. Like, he's so like, you got to get up. Like, women want this kind of guy. Like, women want this. Like, blah blah blah. And it's just like so funny to me that I'm like, it seems like you do have to become more conscious of what you're doing. Whereas like a guy who's not thinking of that,
like if you're not thinking all that stuff, it's like
you're kind of living your
life. It kind of reminded me of like when people like do a lot of like dieting or something like that, then it's like your life is so restricted in like how you live, because like if you're exercising regularly like all the time and then eating certain things all the time,
your life revolves
your life is like so much smaller,
right?
Because you have to live by these like really strict rules. Yes,
right.
So I think some of these like the alpha male thing that people are pushing is like actually creating rules for these guys that actually is kind of keeping them trapped from like revolting or something,
right? Yeah, like I think. Yeah, I feel like they would, honestly, if they didn't have them or if there wasn't like an appeal to it, because I assume that the alpha guys are like telling men like, I'm going to get you wealthy, get you women, get you, like, I assume that they're like advertising, like there's got to be some kind of thing where there's got to be a reason people listen to them. but I wonder how like helpful it is.
Yeah, like what's the end result that people are looking
Yeah, I've never seen like a dude that's like
This
claims
goes
he's
back to like my pick me idea where it's like the guys are just trying to get the approval of another guy.
Yeah.
At,
They're
like,
the pick-mes.
at all costs.
Yeah.
At all costs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Not all guys obviously, but just like
yeah.
if
Like-
you're watching those things like Joe Rogan, you're like, if that dude respects me, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And you're
You're like, is it?
Is it like? But how's your life? Like, is it good? Because it seems like it's getting worse. The more
Yeah.
you're listening to this guy,
It does. It
seems like it's smaller.
It seems to get smaller, and it seems to get like more restrictive. Like there's things you can't do. You have to treat people like this. Like it just seems. It doesn't seem like fun. It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's like a way to get power back or something, or like feel like you have more power.
Well, yeah, I
Stanley.
think that's.
Please don't eat my plant.
Oh yeah, Stanley's on set here,
Stan's on set and he's eating plants
and a bone.
and a bone.
Very cute.
He's doing a great job.
Stanley,
please don't eat the plant. What? He's trying to pretend like the plant. He's eating a bone, and like the plant just happens to be falling into the bone. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's very clever.
Yeah, he's very clever.
Clever
He's ripping up
move.
my plant.
Clever
Yeah.
move.
Or when we watched Nosferatu, and in Nosferatu, there's a guy that Jess called like a pick me, the Rat King.
Yeah, is that the character's name?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think at the end,
But
he
people know
calls-
who that is, right? Yeah,
I
generally.
assume. I don't know what his name is.
He's like the helper.
Yeah, he's the guy that like rips open a bird.
I don't know who I said this to, but they're like, oh no, there is like a lot of like, and I would have to look this up, and I probably won't.
We'd have to look it up, which we did.
But the idea of like those like little helper guys it usually is
Sidekick.
like, there is like a homosexual kind of thing to it.
Oh yeah, homosocial behavior.
I mean, think of like I think somebody did like what's the bad guy in Aladdin? Jafar. So Jafar's like maybe gay or something like that, and then like Iago would be like his partner.
Well, famously in the new Beauty and the Beast, they made the short guy, Gaston's buddy.
Oh yeah,
They made him gay.
yeah.
So
Right.
it made more
Right.
sense. Like why
Why
else
he
would
would
you be
be
simping
like-
for this man?
Yes.
And helping him if you weren't like attracted to him.
Yes. Yes.
Which I think it kind of like pointed it out, which I think was good, but I think it was also like I think it's good, but it's also I think it's reductive to just be like, because like I see all these like women, like I'm on like feminist TikTok whatever, and they're always just like, if you're gay, just be gay or whatever. And I was like, I don't think it's that. I don't think that it is.
Yeah.
It might be some of them
Well,
are
don't they
repressed.
call it like homosocial or something?
But like
that?
I think it's more of a homosocial thing. I don't think it's like that, like, because I think they want to reduce it, and I think part of the problem I have with that too is that I think it's a little bit insulting. I think it's a little bit of way of being like when a guy is like, I want a woman, because like, let's say a guy says like, I want a woman that like puts me first and like does stuff for me and makes me feel cherished and whatever, and they're always like, okay, princess, why don't you just find your dude, like stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, but I also think that is kind of like homophobic to be like, to just reduce somebody to being like, well, you're gay. You obviously you're gay. Like I think that actually kind of hurts the movement, because I'm like, some of them might be gay. I'm not saying that.
Right.
They could be, but I'm like, I think a lot of them
I
more
don't
so
think
are
that's,
straight.
That's not the problem. Yeah.
No,
that's
but I
not
think
the
more of them
problem.
are straight and actually just put the feelings of other men above of women. Yeah. Like
yes.
I that's at least that's what I think. Because I feel like it's like reductive to be like, just go find him. I don't know. It seems homophobic to me, but yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said about like henchmen being the original pick-me's.
Yes, men pick me. Yeah.
Yeah, male pick-me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a homosocial thing, whatever that is.
Like we were talking yesterday about, I was talking with the boys after the show, and we were talking about Conclave. Conclave, a bunch of men,
Divas
divas in dresses, deciding things,
Outfits.
getting mad. And they were like, I was like, I do think a lot of like men kind of like that. Like I think like a lot of the stuff they say about women, like women are catty. I was like, I think men really like organized hierarchy. They really love like an army, religion.
Oh yeah, anything that's like there's like a someone to report to kind of thing.
Yeah, they like being
A
like,
ranking.
who
What's
am I
the
supposed to
ranks?
go to?
Yeah.
I think there's like maybe there's comfort in that.
I know my order.
Yeah, there must be like some kind of
Which would explain why it's like the idea that you could like create hate around a certain group. You know what I mean? To be
Right.
like, well, you get to
You're
be
above.
above this group,
right.
And if this group is steps out of it, whatever that group is, then that's, you're going to try to keep them in line because
Right.
now that's your it's a distraction essentially
Right.
from like, it's usually a working class problem.
Yeah, I think they want to know where they stand in like the hierarchy and just being like, well, that person's above me, this person's below me. Like, I don't know. And it's not necessarily a bad thing to be like, I show respect to somebody. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I also think that if you're someone that's like really hung up on like, you disrespected me, I'm like, there's a problem there.
There's a problem.
Like, you
anytime
are
someo's
not,
like they
something is
disrespect,
wrong with you.
something's
if you're
wrong
like
with you.
mega sensitive to the idea of respect.
Yep.
Like I really have never used that word like in any sort of conversation except
Me either.
abusive ex, right? Like I'm like, I don't think you respect me kind of thing, but it wasn't like you disrespect. Like I never was like that.
No.
Like it's usually starting a fight. Like
I think I also
don't respect.
I feel like
it's not you don't respect me. It's like you disrespected me, right? That's
I think
usually it.
telling someone like you disrespected me
Yeah.
puts the onus on that person rather than being like, because I feel like when I'm trying to explain my feelings to somebody, even if they've hurt me, like let's say like an ex cheated on me or something, which they did, I wouldn't be like you disrespected me. I'd be like you hurt my feelings. Like I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I would like appeal to their, whereas disrespect seems to appeal to like the hierarchical thing of like I'm in charge.
Yeah, I wonder if you
It's
get
a
more.
very
It's
dad
like
thing
I
to
wonder if you
say.
get more results if you're like instead of like it hurt my feelings when you treated it to be like you disrespected. me.
Yeah, I wonder.
They'd be like, whoa, I disrespected somebody. I didn't realize what I did there.
Or they're like, of course I disrespected you. I don't.
I was trying to.
I was exactly what I was
the
trying to do,
intention.
and you picked up on that.
Picked up
perfectly.
on it, but I'm going to lie and say I didn't do that
lie and-
because
I'm gonna keep
then
doing
we
what
can
I've been
keep
doing.
having this situation go on forever and ever.
Yeah, like yesterday, that one of the guys was talking about doing. He was playing like a World War II video game, and we were just talking about how much like the boys love to play war, like they love. But then
War.
they were like,
Yeah.
but this other kid was like, I think we like the he's like the fun parts of war. And I'm like, I don't think there are like fun parts.
What's the fun part of war?
Like I'm like,
Camaraderie,
it's mostly
I
like, aren't
guess?
you like in like you're in a
Trench?
like a trench. You're not having a good time.
Probably cold and
Yeah.
wet.
One of them said that they're like they should have a real war game where like it's very like it's like you could also just like work at the cafeteria,
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
like something where you're like you don't even get to have like
you
quote,
don't get to
unquote.
see action.
Because
at all.
is the fun murder? Because I'm pretty sure that's what they're saying. Is
fun parts murder?
yeah,
people
I get what they mean.
that are like likely just a pawn, just like you. So
Yeah, but he said that like the guy said that he was like when he was talking to them that a lot of them were like super like conservative, whatever. When he was like in the barracks with them, he's like, oh boy, oh no.
wait, who is conservative in the game?
Yeah, because it's a game like where you play with other people online online, and he's like everybody that was like online playing, all of them were like super anti-vax.
How does that even come up?
I don't know how it comes up. I don't know how it
This
comes
war
up.
wouldn't have started if everyone just didn't get a vaccine.
Yeah, they're like this. It was the there's a polio.
God, I wish I
vaccine.
could go
Yeah.
home to my family. If only people didn't get vaccinated. Like
They
that-
don't
Like
wait.
I just like the idea that
They
they're
don't
like,
want to go home to their
I
family.
just like the
They
idea
hate
that
their
in the
family.
game they're longing to
Yeah.
like, go back to their family.
Yes.
And that they're hating war.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're really doing when they're there and complaining about why.
Yeah, one of
they
them was
ended
like,
up there.
"Oh, like they're like the best part of war." They're like, and it like the video game is just the best part of war, and it's just him staring at like a pinup girl's picture, and like
yes,
that's the best
yeah.
part. It's
like reading a letter 20
Yeah.
times.
reading,
because he's
reading
like,
like a nice letter and being like, "Oh man,"
when I get home.
because I'm like, you know what? Not playing war is you can just do that all the time. You can just read
yeah.
pinup girls' letters or
Maybe
whatever.
it's like a good thing that there's like a little simulation for them to like
I think so.
like people need to get that whatever that is out.
That
I don't know.
romanticized version of awfulness out.
Yeah.
Like it's just so
It's
funny to me.
interesting how like I'm like, are there things like that for like women or like because typically women don't play those games. I'm not saying they don't, but like I haven't
No.
really heard too much like, but like some level of like fantasy. I don't know.
I feel like I
game
know a
or
lot of
something
women
like
that play. I feel like I know a lot of women
Like where
that
you're
play
not-
games where
Yeah.
they're like the garden game, where you're like making a garden, like something like where you're creating stuff. Kind
Okay.
of like you play a game, and then in the bigger game, it's like you unlocked a new rose bush, and you get like a new rose bush. Like I feel like a lot of women. I mean,
I
not
don't
a
even know
lot.
what game that is.
I think there's one
farm
called
game?
Gardenscape. I feel like there's another one where like my baby sister plays one where it's like all these cats making a soup, and so you play games and then you get the cat's little our baby sister Sean plays a game. I'm pretty sure where it's like this
I feel
cat
like
makes
that's-
an onion.
Yeah, I'm like that. Is that game that immersive though? I feel like it's.
I don't know. It's not.
I feel
No,
like it's on your phone. I'm like, if it's on your phone, I'm like, it's a little different. It's like
I have.
I
Seen
guess Sims. Sims would be the
Sims.
thing. People
Yeah.
play
Okay. Sims would
right?
be the one. Yeah.
Because then you get to like build a house and like decorate it and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like,
And see the drama between the Sims.
yes, yeah, create drama. And
Yeah.
the characters.
Create drama. Yeah. It's like our 90 days.
Yeah, 90 Day Fiance or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
You get to watch the drama unfold.
I don't know how, like, I haven't played it since I was like a kid, so I'm like, I don't know like how much
Sean was just
drama
playing
is
it
in
the
the
other day.
game
I don't
or
know.
what. Like,
I don't
or
know.
how
I guess
much
you can probably
follow
create
the lives
drama.
of these characters.
You
or
like
not.
can change their personalities to make them more crazy and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think.
Sick.
Yeah, it's
That-
no,
like,
it's
no,
a,
that's like sick. Like not like sick cool. Like, oh, that's like a sick-minded thing to do.
So is everyone playing video games? Like the men are playing war. That's messed up. The women are controlling people's emotions. That's
Yeah.
messed up.
Yeah.
We're all sick.
We're all
We're all
people
sick,
as well.
guys.
But how many people are actually playing that though? Because I
I
feel like
don't
a
know.
lot of guys do play the war game thing.
Yeah, I've also seen like videos, and this is because I'm on like again a lot of feminist TikTok, where it's like one of those games where like people are playing, like you have cars, and then all the cars are pink, and then they just find someone that's not in a pink car, and they just like beat like basically like they create gangs, and all the women are like wearing pink, and then they just like wail on people that they just find men to destroy,
Oh, okay.
just in the game.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, like
I don't know.
good for you, girlies.
Take it back. Take
It's
back the I don't know.
Disgusting.
What would be that women in male dominated fields?
Well, yeah,
or
women in
something like that?
dominated
Yeah.
fields.
I wrote down something that's propaganda for middle intelligence people.
I intelligence.
I think I meant to say like the idea that's like, what is propaganda for like super left people?
Okay.
That's what I think I meant, because I think
there's so much for right.
There's so much for conservatives. There's
Right.
Like, what is it? I think there is.
You go to try to find a recipe, and all of a sudden it's like, you need to get this much protein. You're like, okay. And then the next thing, it's like, you don't want to be weak. And then they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but it
and
always
then
goes to the right. Though.
always
But,
like, just
is there
funnels
something
you.
that can you get people from the right to go to the left? I don't with propaganda. Maybe
Ooh.
not. You probably could. It's just does propaganda only work towards conservatives' favor? Like, I think to some
I don't
degree, something
know.
like media definitely uses like certain movements to then get voting in. Like, I do think that the Black Lives Matter thing was like a hyper focused until what's his name Biden got in, and then after that, it kind of like got out of mainstream media.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that movement, there's not validity to any of these things, but I just think that political powers will use that to leverage their cause or whatever until they're in, and then they just ignore it.
I'm trying to think of something. You know what? Comedy might be that thing.
Yeah, that like
I think I think a lot of, and again, we're making sweeping generalizations about men. If you
That's
don't
what
like
the show
it,
is.
this is not the podcast for you. But I feel like a lot of young kids or young people, I feel like I was like this. If I had a comedian that I really, really liked, I do feel like Eddie Izzard, which I don't think they go by that name anymore. I don't want to say their dead name, but whatever their new name is. Sorry, Eddie.
you're Googling it.
Yeah. So I don't say it. So Susie it.
Susie Eddie Izzard.
Okay, Susie. But that they I feel like they opened me up to like a lot of ideas and like looking at history and things, and because they were funny enough to get the point across, and I thought they were so funny that I feel like that helped me out, especially I was a conservative. I was a conservative teen.
Gross.
I think also as a kid, I think you're more likely to be conservative if you're raised that way. But also, I think if you grow up in a state where environment in which you don't feel like you have control over anything, and I think it's a way to get control back. You're like,
Being conservative.
yeah,
that
I
makes
think
sense,
like
yeah.
I like aligned with those values because not because of like not because of other things, but like just being like everyone should be on their own or like hyper individualistic.
That's also pushed on us though.
Right, but I wanted to be hyper individualistic because I was like, I'm sick of having to like take other people's feet, like dads or whatever, or anything like toxic around me, into account. Like I'm so sick of. I want everyone to just be like on their own, and then I didn't realize that I was like, oh, that like hyper individualistic thing isn't healthy, and isn't sustainable. And really what you should do is like hold people accountable, and
Yep.
there's no way around her type thing. And I think as a kid, I was like, I need to like, and rationalize my feelings into
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
a thing. And I think that's part of the thing. But I think comedians, can be helpful. Like, what is it? What is his name? A lot of the like guys that I think have the kind of mean comedy, like Tosh.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I feel like kind of a voice of reason now, which is kind of interesting because I feel like before he was kind of.
He's just like a sarcastic.
He's sarcastic little, but
it's kind of like the David Spade character, right? Where it's like very like sarcastic and like a smug and I'm better than you, but like only because it's like that person probably can't connect to other people.
Right. But I think now he has a podcast, and then when you actually see him behind, and he's like, honestly, I think like he's like very kind of like, he's like a liberal guy that's like, I want my taxes going to good stuff, blah, blah, blah. And, so, I think that's a good pipeline, I'd say.
Comedy,
I think, is a good pipeline.
Yeah.
I think. Although a lot of these incel boys are making it on the scene, they better. I'm trying to think. I mean,
I would say
there's definitely conservative comedians, obviously.
Maybe very rare, but someone like the Luigi type of
Luigi.
person.
You think
weirdly,
he's propaganda?
Not propaganda, but it's like a thing that like I think makes people like. I think it unites people. I don't know that it's not propaganda, but it's something where it like could jostle somebody out of their one view,
right?
Maybe because then I think so many people were like, "Oh yeah, we hate healthcare." So then there was like this like weird like
right.
That's not propaganda, but it's like
somebody may. I think
I'm just thinking of things that get people out of their like stuck conservative.
Somebody made a good point because like after the election, everyone's like, we need a Joe Rogan for liberal men. Like we need where's our we need to get one or whatever. And I was like, and I think the problem I have with that is that it's kind of antithetical to what being a leftist is like being like, well, the only view I'm going to respect is a white dude. Then you're not ready to be a leftist. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like if you're still like, well, I still need a white guy to be the one to say it. Like I get it, like maybe that as a pipeline, but it is antithetical to the whole left, like because it should be a party of everybody. It should be like different voices, different whatever. So the fact that you just need one white dude saying it, I'm like, that's kind of actually part of the problem. It's
yeah.
Like, I understand. I feel like Bill Burr's kind of doing that. He's being helpful.
Well, I mean, there still needs to be like dudes talking to dudes. Like,
yeah, I know.
It's like the same thing with like people of color being like, we don't want to do the work. Like, talk to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, it helps other people.
Yeah, it helps other people. Yeah.
Jon Stewart.
Yeah, he's kind
something
of.
He said. I forgot what he's talking about.
I forget what that man's done.
I forget what he's talking about.
I think Musk said that he'll do an interview with him.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I doubt it.
He won't do it. Just like
also,
he's just
whenever
gonna solve world hunger.
I see a Tesla now, I'm like, God, that's embarrassing. Like, I already didn't like Teslas before. I just think they're ugly cars. They're just like basic looking for like what it is.
So, unless it's a Cybertruck, I didn't really realize what cars were Teslas.
Oh yeah, there's like a million of them.
And I didn't really realize it until I saw one recently, and the guy has a bumper sticker that's like, "I bought this before he went crazy," and I was.
I knew he was crazy. Right from
I was
like
I
think some people though bought the car thinking like he's kind of cool, like he has a good point here. Mm-hmm. Like I think some people like bought like, and that's embarrassing.
I think also it's almost. I don't know if it's better to put the bumper sticker on or it's worse to put the bumper sticker on.
I bought this before he went crazy.
It says something like that. Like I bought this before I knew he was nuts or something like that.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of thought you always was sort of nuts, but I'm like,
right.
That's like,
okay, here's a question.
I guess he's like way more nuts, like with a chainsaw. So like, if that's like the line, at least you kind of came to.
Sure. Yeah.
I think there's some shame to it. I feel like
it's kind of.
Is it worse to have the sticker or not? I think it's.
I don't know.
I'd rather have the sticker than not have the sticker.
I think
like,
it's better
okay,
to have a
they
sticker.
understand what happened here. It's like,
I think it also
sell their car. What's going to happen
if shit hits a fan and someone's like every Tesla I see I'm gonna like slash the cars up if somebody said that.
Oh yeah, it's like a protective
they're gonna be
thing.
like, oh, they got a bumper sticker. Never mind. We'll just.
Oh yeah, this person.
This person gets it.
This person gets it.
We won't destroy that.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the thing.
We'll not smash this window. We'll move on to the next one.
Do you see now? Here's a question that I don't think that would have happened like 50 years ago when it came out that like I think like Ford is like super anti-Semitic. It's not like people were like, well, I gotta put a bumper sticker on my Ford.
Nobody cared about that stuff.
Yeah,
like, they cared.
Ford didn't get to the point of Musk. Probably.
they'd be like, well, there's the car and there's the man, and they're not
Yeah.
connected. I don't think that,
Separate.
like the CEO
they were
was
more separate though.
I think it was like they weren't like as like much of a face of the company. Like they
Yeah.
are, but they aren't. Like
No.
it wasn't like this celebrity moment type thing.
and he's reached another level of
Yeah.
nonsense.
Like
he's
they,
gross.
it's almost like the person is bigger than the company even is, which
Yeah.
is interesting because the company is a person. I don't know.
Yeah,
Weirdly,
it is weird.
Stanley, none of it makes sense.
Certainly none of it makes sense. I wrote down here, this was a conversation we were having the other day about people being basic. We see this a lot because we watch like Bachelor and Bachelorette, because that's what we do. And there's some people who are just basic, and we were wondering, like, where does it come from being like a basic person? Because sometimes you see two people on The Bachelor and you're like,
Oh yeah, I remember
this
us
person's
talking
got
about
not much personality.
Yeah.
She's got not much personality. I hope they find happiness together.
this. Yeah.
But then I worried that maybe being basic is actually just being a healthy person.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
I think it might be right.
It's like, oh, this person's so not interesting to talk to, or like,
If you're someone who grew up in a good family environment and you're not basic, but nobody thinks they're basic, that's the problem.
yeah.
Who's gonna be like, well, I'm a basic person and I grew up
As a basic person,
I'm a basic
With
person. I
absolutely-
grew up in a super traumatizing household. Like, no one's gonna say that.
I also was wondering because I was talking about this with a friend. Was like, is being basic your interest? Because I'm like, I think you
I
could
don't
have
know.
cool interest
I
and
think-
still be
and
basic.
still be basic. Agreed. I think it's a state of mind.
I think so too.
I don't even know what it is. I feel like it's.
Or maybe it's just like neurodivergent people.
I think
something
that
like
might be what it is. I think because I'm around too many comics.
But then my friend, I wouldn't say she is, and like I'm like, how is that?
Is she basic? No,
No,
but she's not neurodivergent.
Kristen.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
interesting.
Kristen's not basic.
Interesting. Has
But
interest.
she,
Traumatized.
traumatized.
Clearly traumatized.
No
If you're
offense,
not
Kristen.
neurodivergent,
Yeah,
then you're
or traumatized, or you have like CPTSD, maybe.
yeah,
Maybe
whatever.
that's what it is.
Traumatized.
I do think the gauge by which I like am able to with like people is completely off from being around comics. I assume a lot of people are a lot more like when I talk to people and they're like, well, at the office you can't just like say what I'm like, oh, like comics a lot of times will just say what they.
Yeah, but you're not like out there like singing and I guess you don't do that at the house either. Cause I'm like, the things that I do like when
Oh yeah, you're right.
when it's just a few people I know.
Yeah, you're right. No, there is a level. I think just because I'm around a certain level of weird, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that might be clocked as odd,
Isn't.
I don't really see it as.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty weird for comics to be like, dude, I can't be around them.
Yeah. Like
You got to be pretty odd. You got to be
Yeah.
like problematic, I think.
yeah.
Because comics are pretty like chill about like. Stanley has a small squeaker. No
Don't get
squeaker.
going, Stanley.
And yeah. Whereas like if you lived or not lived, if you worked in an office with normal people, it might be different.
Yeah.
I think.
Also, just kind of building off that, not quite the same idea, but like going out the other day with people, I felt like there's this pressure, like that people like want you to drink, and I obviously we both drink, but like I like rarely do,
Yeah.
and like there's a pressure, like, oh, if you drink more, you're gonna be fun, and it's like that's just not how it works with me,
No.
like at all. Like I'm like I have to like just be comfortable with people to like be
yes. You have to put somebody at ease.
Yeah.
And just be a regular. Do you think there was a time? Because I feel like a lot of like neurodivergent people do say that like because like of their social anxiety that drinking does help them. Do you think there was a time when you were younger that it did make you feel more like yourself?
maybe
Maybe.
yeah.
Like maybe when I was younger, I'm not sure.
Maybe, yeah, maybe my
I feel like I
early
would just kind of
20s.
get mean.
Maybe
I wouldn't
early
take any-
20s.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I just like don't. Like it just doesn't like people are like, yeah, let's get crazy. I'm like, no, doesn't
is as
happen.
crazy
You know,
as I'm gonna
I'm just
get.
gonna get to go to sleep.
Do you think it's an indication of a problem if somebody does become a different person when they drink?
I don't think anyone's really becoming that different. I just think they're becoming more annoying. That's like pretty much it.
Just more
they're just
annoying.
like, I'm
It's me, but annoying.
me, but like more dumb and more annoying and more talkative and
Yeah,
don't know.
and
I
maybe
don't
less
know.
into social cues.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just something I noticed where I'm like, people just think that I'm like, they're like, if you, like, I want to see you let loose. I'm like, no, that drugs, alcohol
That's an
is
interesting
not the,
concept.
is
Yeah.
not the thing that like gets me to let loose. Like, you have to hang out with me for a while, maybe live with me for a bit.
Yeah,
Then
live with
you'll
me for a
really
bit, and you'll see me. You'll get
see
sick of
the
it. Yeah,
dance
for sure.
shows at 11
Yeah,
p.m.
that's true. I don't think me drinking alcohol, I end up getting sleepy, or if I
grumpy.
drink too much, I'll get sick.
Yes, Stanley, you have something to say about that? That's all. Okay.
Yeah, it's very complicated stuff.
It's complicated.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that I think if you're someone who's like, oh, I feel more at ease when I drink, then maybe you want other people to drink because you're like, well, it'll make them feel more at ease.
That's probably what it is.
I think that's like they're trying to make it so that they're like, I want you to feel comfortable, and you're like,
this is helping me. This should help you. And you're
I've
like,
never felt comfortable a day in my life.
It doesn't work like that.
No. I'm trying to think of when I've drank a lot, I guess you have, and it's also hard to gauge because what I think I act like when I drink or when I did drink like back in the day would be different. I need somebody to ask, or somebody that was around me would have to like know that knew me well enough. Will have to be like, oh yeah, this is the way she's different.
Yes. And if we could switch the topic for a moment.
Yes.
I don't know. I wrote this down of like, what movie do you think reflects your personality? And I feel like that's a hard question. I don't even know where it came from. Probably saw it on something else.
Reflects my personality.
Best reflects your personality. But I'm like, how is a movie reflecting a personality?
I feel like if my personality is anchored on my sense of humor, it would probably be Hot Rod or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Because like, I just saw a TikTok the other day where somebody was like, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs actually was a good movie, and I'm sick of people not thinking that. And I was like, I always thought it was a good movie.
But you're also sick of people not thinking it. So
yeah, I'm sick of people not. But I'm like fine. I'm fine if people don't think it's. If someone's like, oh, it's not that good.
Are you though?
Yeah, I think I'm like, if you don't
you?
like it,
Stanley?
unless I like your sense of humor, then I'm like, I don't understand how you could not like that. But it's everyone's sense of humor is different. I'm like, because there are things like where like Our Baby Sister, I'm like, Game of Thrones isn't for you.
Yeah.
Like there are things where I'm like, it's just not for you. Like Kristen doesn't like Lord of the Rings. I'm like, you're not gonna like Game of Thrones either.
Yeah.
Like it's not for
Fantasy thing. Yeah.
That's fine. I think comedy, you end up being a little more. I feel like maybe I'm a little more sensitive. Like if I show someone Tommy Boy and they don't like it, I might be like, oh no.
But it's like it almost would be like, what is a movie somebody else thinks is reflective of you? Because I'm like, you'd like to have Hot Rod, but your movie, you're not that weird or quirky. Like,
no.
You know what I mean? Like you're like, maybe I would say you're more like written type of.
Somebody said that
comedy.
they're like, oh, think of yourself as like somebody said this like as a prompt or whatever for like stuff you're not doing. If you were the main character in a movie, what would somebody be shouting at you? Like an audience, like if you were and someone's watching the movie, what would they be shouting at you to do?
While they're watching your life, that's a movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, would they be like, just take a shower or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Know?
Okay.
To get you to like do something or to be engaged.
You're right.
And a lot of people in the comments were like, a movie of my life wouldn't be interesting enough to watch. And I think a lot of people would have pretty dull movies. If it was like not on personality, if it was more on like, what do you actually do? And how do you actually act? Like most people are pretty, aren't doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I think if you do have a crazy, quirky movie that is your personality, like you probably have some kind of drinking problem. Like,
yeah, right.
If someone's like, old school is my personality, I'd be like, oh God,
yikes.
you need to,
Yikes.
you need to, lock in or something. I don't know. Did you have one?
No, I don't. I have no idea. I feel like it's too complicated of a.
It's too complicated
not the
of a thing.
way
No.
of like comparing.
No, it's not the right way of comparing. I don't think. I
have like no idea. Like I always like the movie The Fighter, but that's because it's like a family movie. That doesn't do with like me per se, but it's like more
right,
just, like some representation of crazy weird family that's like making it work regardless of how damaging
how
it is
bad
to
it
each
is.
other.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, I thought that was interesting, but that's not.
I don't know. That's a hard question.
It is, yeah. And then it also means like your personality like locked in, and I feel like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not quite.
That's what we use astrology for.
That's what astrology's for.
No, he's not going to throw it, Stanley. He doesn't want to throw a squeaker.
He might.
The smallest thing in the world, Stanley.
He might throw the squeaker.
Here's a random thought that I wrote down. Because we were talking about like candy. What kind of chocolate? And we were talking about like Snickers. We were like Snickers.
Yeah.
Snickers is like borderline health food.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Snickers. I might as well just like eat a
Kind bar.
Yeah, it's just about a kind bar.
Granola bar.
Yeah. That's why they're like,
Snickers
if
are
you're
kinda
hungry,
gross.
Snickers are kind of gross. But then, like, if I need candy, which of course I never do,
In a pinch.
which of course one never needs candy.
You need to get your candy fix.
When I need to get a candy fix and it's only Snickers, of course, yes.
I feel like a Snickers not quite satisfying it personally. Like you need candy and you're like, or I don't know if it's candy, but like a sugar thing. I'm like, I'd rather not eat a Snickers. I'm going to eat the Snickers, but like I'd rather not. Like I feel like it's not quite scratching the edge, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are people out here there who love Snickers.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
They probably do well for themselves.
Because I think somebody was talking and they had put like.
Also, it's weird that Snickers has those commercials where it's like, you're not yourself when you're
hungry.
And they're supplying a Snickers. It's just candy. It's not really food, but they're obviously selling it like it is food.
They're selling it like it's health food.
Like it's a health food.
Yeah, like they're like, oh, you need to eat this. Finally, I ate a Snickers. That'll help. That'll make me myself.
If you're hungry and you eat a Snickers like that, it feels gross.
That feels really gross.
Like,
last weekend, I famously not famously, but
like I don't like being hungry and eating like sweet thing. It does
that's
not,
exactly
it does
what
not
I did.
Feel good.
Yeah, I was so hungry and I went to Loaf Lounge to get like a sandwich and they were closed for food.
So you had to get a dessert.
So I got a dessert
like
and I started eating it and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be sick.
Yeah, when you're hungry, it's not.
And then I went to the grocery store and then I got 2 donuts and I was like,
God.
what are we doing here, Caitlin? And then I finally ate real food, but I didn't eat both the donuts. I just got them and I was like, I just panicked. Sometimes when you're really hungry, you become like
delusional.
You're like,
so you eat a Snickers and things
you eat a Snickers
worse.
and things get worse.
Things get worse. With the
You're like,
Snickers.
am I myself now? Am I myself now?
Wait, what else did we say about the Snickers? I feel like there was something else with that, the candy thing. Maybe that was it.
I don't know. I just wrote it down because I was like,
oh, probably because there was somebody like rating candy bars.
They were rating candy bars and their
like,
rating was way off.
I think they put Musketeer on the top. And
they did. Musketeer was like number one for
put
them.
A marshmallow on there.
Yeah, just put marshmallow.
At that point, just put oatmeal.
Marshmallows really have a dominance in the Easter
What
candy.
Does?
I feel like marshmallow.
Oh,
maybe it's just
marshmallow
peep,
really.
but marshmallow really comes alive in Easter.
Yeah, which you wouldn't think.
Wouldn't think.
Yeah, that makes me think now. It's like, okay, so what dominates? Like, what candy type dominates each holiday? Like mint and peppermint. Christmas, right?
Christmas. That's a Christmas holiday. Right? Yeah, I would say mint. Candy cane, a candy cane.
Yeah, the candy cane.
Mint.
Chocolate has got to be Halloween.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, but sometimes like
but Valentine's is chocolate. Never mind.
Valentine's. You think Valentine's is chocolate?
Yeah. People.
I guess I think of those little hearts.
Oh yeah, but people give chocolate as like those like heart.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it would be definitely Valentine's Day with chocolate. Yeah. And then Halloween's all candy.
I feel like Halloween's a universal candy thing.
Obviously, every holiday is all candy. Clearly.
Right. You can.
But yes, marshmallow out of left field.
Something about the marshmallow and Jesus' resurrection. One and the same. One and the same.
Why is that?
I have no idea. They're like, it's also rising.
Why Peeps anyways? Peeps are
Why
not.
Peeps?
How did that even become
I have
a thing?
no idea.
Maybe because they could shape it like a bird and people were like got into it and then it just kind of
maybe
stuck,
and it just stuck.
Taste good.
It doesn't taste that great. And they're like, also the best part about Peeps, I think, is that it's marshmallow, which is like literally like inflated sugar. And then they're like, I feel like it's not sweet enough. Should we just dip it in sugar?
Yeah, let's
just dip the whole thing in sugar.
But then you add the color and then it would really
and yeah, that's
off.
what really
But then they also have those other marshmallow things where it's like
chocolate
marshmallow things, and then there's honestly not that far away. You could argue those eggs full of like cream, those Cadbury eggs, kind of
marshmallowy thing
inside of it.
And like Cadbury being like
gross.
only a Easter thing too.
Yeah, well, it
I
used
never
to be. Now they put those like now they're putting their like Cadbury stuff into different holidays, and I don't think they should.
I don't think they should either.
Nothing's sacred
I don't.
anymore.
Don't be great.
Nothing's sacred.
Nothing's sacred.
You used
God.
to look forward to these.
You used to be
Cadbury
like,
eggs
yeah,
every year. Now,
can only have them in Easter. Now they're like,
now they're like anytime you want. It's like no, I
no,
can't.
that's not the point.
Now I hate them.
Now I hate them, and I hate you.
I can have them whenever I want.
It's like we changed the recipe too to put more plastic in it. Great, awesome.
Yeah, more plastic than ever.
Oh, if they'll change the like recipe, like our friend said about like the Chips Ahoy, they changed the recipe, and he's like,
yeah.
"Now they're fucked." I'm like,
He hates them. Yeah.
he hates them now.
Then we tried to do a tasting, and he could tell.
He could tell.
He could tell.
The man could tell. Yeah. We were talking about. I was talking about how like as a Catholic we didn't read the Bible, obviously.
If you're a Catholic and you read the Bible, interesting.
I met some last night, and then we were also
What?
talking about
Like our age?
yeah,
Wow.
but they went to Catholic school.
Okay.
But I think this guy read it of his own accord, which is very interesting. And also, what's also interesting too is like he's obviously not Catholic anymore, but his parents aren't Catholic either. He just happened to go to Catholic school and was sort of like,
Oh yeah.
I feel like he got into the lore of it.
Yeah.
Was like,
for
let's
sure.
really get in. But he was like, you know what annoys me is that they talk about Jesus rising from the dead after 3 days. He's like, tops, it was like, bless you, tops, he's like, Jesus was dead for like 2.5.
What do you
And I
mean?
was like, what? Because he's like, he dies on Friday and then he's resurrected on Sunday.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's always
That's
these
not a full 3 days.
discrepancies.
That's not a full 3 days.
He dies on Friday, rises on Sunday. That's like, yeah. I guess it's like you could argue like if I was booking a trip, right, and I'm going
Maybe a 3 day week. That's what I told
3-day
him.
weekend, yeah. But super generous. Like,
It's
it'd be
really-
like 48 hours.
Yep. That's what he said. Tops.
48
I was like,
hours. Yeah,
wow.
2.5.
Jesus really milked this.
3 days. Let's round it up to 3. Also, we've already talked about this before,
Right.
but like the fact that supposedly when he's found, right?
In the Bible. When
When the
describe it.
rock is rolled back, right? There, a woman goes in there, right? One of the
Yeah,
Marys or
Mary-
something.
One of those Marys.
One of the Marys goes in and she sees a gardener there, right? And they're like,
She sees
"Where did he
somebody-
go?" But like, it's like clearly somebody moved the body. Like clearly, like,
Yeah.
Why is there a guy in there? The gardener's just in there. Come on.
The very, I was talking to him about
There's
that.
just a lot of suspicious things. Like, man, I'm just gonna overlook that. Or like,
My favorite
really?
part is that when we read it, because Jess and I were like curious, we're like, we'll read the passages. And when we read the passages, it was like their eyes did not recognize him. And I was like,
Because it wasn't him.
Sounds
Oh yeah,
like-
they're like when we see him alive again, it's like we can't even recognize him because it's not him.
sounds like it's not him.
Sounds like someone stole the
sounds
body and like you guys are just
Sounds
delusional.
like it's not him, guys.
Yeah.
Stanley? It
Yeah,
sounds like it's not him.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it sounds like it's not him. That's what I thought was so interesting. But it was like fascinating that they were like, oh, if you go to Catholic school, you don't stay Catholic. And I'm like, well, you could come back to it.
Could come back to it. I know some
Back to
people
it.
came back to it.
But they were like, we were talking to somebody who just went to Catholic church and then has become more Catholic as he's gotten older on the
Wow.
comedy scene. Because we were talking about doing a comedy scene conclave.
Okay.
Because we were like, I was like, I think it'd be fun just to get the boys
little puppy
in,
up
just to get the boys in dresses and have them talk to each other, and then I think it'd be funny too if like conclave they start like exposing secrets of each other.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, like a conclave
Yeah,
comedy show.
Yeah, like like Joey did this or whatever.
Yeah.
And we also like the Pope right now is on death's door or whatever. They think he might die.
It's tough. Tough.
But we were
times.
like, if the Pope dies,
days.
Conclave wins. Conclave will win the Oscars tonight.
Yeah. Well, he should have
Maybe.
died already. So
Yeah,
too late.
probably should have.
Unless he's been dead for 3 days.
Unless he's been dead for 3 days and he comes back 48 hours.
48 hours.
48 hours.
I also think like the Pope's checking out. Things are getting kind of rocky here. Interesting.
A lot of people have been checking out
yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to get out before things get bad.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting timing.
Seems a little bit weak to me.
Stanley, why do you pick the weirdest thing to throw?
I don't know if I have anything else. Someone said, "Do you think dogs bark? Do you think dogs think in barks?
No.
They think in words.
I don't know if
I don't think they think like that.
I think that it's more. Yeah, I think it's different.
Because like in their brain, you think they're just like going like bark, 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 bark.
I don't know. I think
Stanley thinks in full sentences.
Yeah. Well, partial.
Partial. His English isn't great. He's still learning.
I think it's kind of like a caveman, like sort of.
Yeah.
Phrases.
Like those dogs with the buttons. Like me outside.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Me
like that.
sad. You're like, oh God, please don't make them aware of their own existence. Makes me uncomfortable. Do you have anything else for the pod?
Let's see.
I don't know. When we were talking about like Catholicism last night, it was funny how much of the stuff like went over my head. And then, but the boys that had gone to Catholic school, I feel like they understood a lot of it. They're like, oh, I know all the sacraments by heart. And I was like, I might know all the sacraments.
You don't? I feel like they grilled that at catechism.
Marriage.
I'll start at the beginning.
Communion. Oh, baptism.
Baptism.
Communion. Confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness?
Reconciliation is one of them, yeah. So that, you do that as a kid, right?
Oh, reconciliation?
Yeah, so it would be baptism, communion, reconciliation, because you do that like in 4th grade.
Uh-huh.
Then confirmation.
Confirmation.
Then I think marriage or where you do like wherever you like become a nun or something.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's like either marry God or you marry a person or something. And then there's the last rites, which is they put like oil on you or something.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think you got them.
So there's kind of 7, but there's kind of 6 because it just depends. I think if you choose following.
Wow, good job.
That's like the only
anointing of the sick.
It's the only thing I feel like I learned in catechism.
Yeah,
because like in 8th grade, that's like the only thing that like drilled in your head.
Yeah, agreed. That's why I said to them.
Anytime else, I don't think I learned anything in catechism.
I don't think they ever told me anything. I was like, I didn't really understand what the tabernacle was. I didn't understand what was going on.
No.
I was like, I do remember the Stations of the Cross, which I was like laughing about last night because I was just
they're
like
so like violent.
Well, they're so violent, but also it's like
what church you go to, like those pictures are hung up around the church.
Yeah, the pictures, but also it's just like really funny to me that they're like if I was dying, I'd be like, okay, like the fact that they have a thing that like they're like Jesus fell like a 3rd time, and I was like, at that point, if I was Jesus, I was like, can we stop documenting the falls?
Stop taking photos, guys? Can we stop?
Yeah. Like, no, we're gonna want to like imagine just like walking around and you keep tripping and people are like, she tripped a 3rd time. I'd be like, can we not?
Yeah, right.
I think it's supposed to like obviously document its suffering or whatever, but I just think it's really hilarious. Like if someone walked around and they were like giving
now that would be the movie. Somebody's watching a show documenting the suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like
most working class.
Can we not? It's just like embarrassing things about like, and also Jesus, like
and he farted.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, he farted a 3rd time.
Not?
What? Can we not, guys?
He also had like a really bad like stomach bug at the time.
Yeah, he was not
really enhanced the suffering.
Yeah,
which is mostly farting, and they're like,
they're like, we have to write it though because it was part of his suffering.
Yeah,
and then everybody was like laughing at him.
Yeah,
because of the farts.
That would be.
I just think it's such a funny thing.
Day, like suffering.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like if you were gonna do it like out of a high school or something.
Yeah.
Like
out
she.
Of a high
Yeah.
school
And
like then their period started.
Yeah, period
like,
started, and like
going everywhere. That's.
I'd watch it, Stanley. Would you watch it, Stanley?
Suffering.
Yes. You're doing great, Stan. Yeah,
I
just think
anything else.
I don't think we have anything else.
Just a good little start.
Just a short little baby episode.
Yeah, testing it out.
Testing it out in this new
location.
thing. Yeah, new location, new stuff.
That's it.
All right, I think that's all. I think that's all we're gonna do. Thanks for listening. Bye. Thank you for listening to our nonsense. If you like it, follow Checker Podski on all platforms. And if you want to support my stand-up, follow me at Caitlin Check. If you want us to talk about something or need to air out your grievances or family secrets, feel free to comment or email us at checkerpodski@gmail.com. Shout out to our producers and to Alex Oliver for our Checker Podski jingle.